This is Live from the Table, the official podcast of the world-famous Comedy Cellar Comedy Club, coming at you on Sirius XM 99 Raw Dog and the Laugh Button Podcast Network. This is Dan Naturman. With me, Periel Aschenbrand is here, our producer.
I'm here.
I'll tell you who's not here is Noam Dwarman because he is sick. We don't know how sick, but he is sick. And too sick to zoom in, I guess, because he's not zooming in either. So it's just me and Periel and Nicole Lyons, and Brian Scott McFadden will be joining us very soon. Did you send me a bio for Brian?
I did not. Would you like?
I can wing it. I know. We don't need one.
I figured that as a longtime friend of the show, and
we'll wing a bio. We don't. I mean, you're big on bios. That's not really my main thing.
Well, I just like everybody to be situated. I feel like.
I want to give a fan shout out because a fan tweeted at me that he really liked the show, and I thought he might appreciate a shout out.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's see here, Jamie Draper, it's Jaime. That's Jamie or Jem?
Jaime.
I mean, in French that would be Jem, but
I think
Jamie Draper said, "Love the show." He tweeted to me, so we'll just give him a shout out. Because I think he'd appreciate it. Anyway, Jamie Draper, thank you for listening. I assume you're listening to this episode also. Periel alerted me to a news item this week that I was unaware of that she found fascinating. Apparently, there's a trial involving Gwyneth Paltrow. Paltrow or Paltrow?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but
Gwyneth Paltrow.
So I read up on it, and it was a ski accident. Her and another skier collided, and the debate is whether she hit him or he hit her.
Right, that's the debate, and he's suing her for $300,000, and is saying that he has brain damage, and I mean the whole thing is insane.
Well, why? First of all, what you just said is not insane at all. So what's the insane part?
Well, first of all, there's no evidence, I think, or I guess the trial's about, did he bump into her?
The trial, as I have read it, is about did he bump into her or did she bump into him?
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I know about it. And that he's a retired optometrist, and that she's suing him for $1. And I did see a clip where like the lawyer asked her if she got the idea of suing for $1 from Taylor Swift because she had sued somebody for $1. It's like a symbolic thing.
Yeah, and
she said, "Well, we're not really that good friends." And then the lawyer was like saying, "Oh, I'm sure you have a really nice," like she was saying that you were dressed in goggles and you look like every other skier on the hill with your goggles and mask. And Gwyneth said, "Yes, I try to do that." And she said, "Well, I'm sure you had a very nice ski outfit." It was a weird conversation.
The whole thing is cockamamie.
I don't think the whole thing is cockamamie. There was a ski accident, and now we've got to get to the
People get into ski accidents all the time.
Yeah, but if somebody was legitimately seriously injured, that is a legitimate lawsuit.
If
I haven't seen the lawsuit.
Right,
so it's not cockamamie on its face.
Well,
it's cockamamie if we find out that the whole thing was made up, or that he lied, or that he actually crashed into her and not the other way around. But just the facts that I know, it's not cockamamie. What's cockamamie is a lawyer saying, "I bet you have a really nice ski suit."
But that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that the whole thing, she also said, "Oh, how tall are you? 5'10".
That part was odd.
And I love your shoes.
But the whole thing...
Well, when I say the whole thing, I mean the whole...
The whole thing to me means the whole thing. Anyway, I never met Gwyneth Paltrow. I met her mother, Blythe Daner, at Otto, which is a restaurant that was owned by Mario Batali.
I've been there.
But I don't think he owns it anymore. I think it's closed down.
It is?
Yeah, I think it's
Otto in the
Otto.
village,
So I really enjoyed that restaurant. But I was with Avi Lieberman. But Blythe Danner was there ordering food.
Right.
And I just...
say hi?
Yeah, I just was talking to her, as if I didn't know who I knew exactly who she was. But she was like, yeah, I said I was a comedian. She said, "Oh, my husband was so funny." And, he wasn't a comedian, but he was a director, I guess, that... I don't know if he directed any... Bruce Paltrow. I don't know if he directed any comedies or not.
Okay.
But, and then she said, "My name is Blythe." And I said, "I'm Dan." I mean, I pretended like I didn't know who she was. And then Avi came in a little bit later and said, "Oh, you're Blythe Danner." So anyway, that was my limited exchange with her. But she was very lovely, is I guess, is all I can say about it.
Okay, can we get back to this trial a little bit though? Because I feel like
Well, what about the trial?
there are a lot of things that I'm not the only one who's saying this whole thing is cockamamie. Like the whole thing has gone viral on Instagram with all of these
What
memes.
precisely is cockamamie about it?
So that at one point, I mean, you have to be so wealthy, I think, to be able to like even take any of this seriously the way that it's being presented. They said, "Oh, well, you really suffered, didn't you?" And Gwyneth Paltrow said, "Well, I
Isn't Gwyneth the one who's being sued? I believe.
correct.
So she has no choice. She has to.
I think so. I think
She has to show up.
yeah.
Now she's countersuing, I think, on principle because she's saying you're suing me frivolously.
Although they found some chat room in which somebody and also none of the lawyers could find this chat room, but there was a chat room which is particular to this luxury ski resort in Utah in which some internet like tech guy just like logged in, and there was like, you know, this thread about how she was the one who bumped into him.
Okay, but that's a chat room that doesn't get us anywhere.
Well, apparently it's a key piece of evidence in the trial now.
A chat room?
Yeah.
Is a key piece of evidence?
Mm-hmm.
Because
there was a witness now.
okay, there's a witness. Okay, there's a witness. Well, let's see what the witness has to say on the stand.
Right.
When the witness gets to the stand. This whole thing, by the way, took place a few years ago.
Yeah, in like 2017 or something.
Yeah, so
anyway, so they said to her that,
this is not fresh powder.
Folks. They said to her, "Oh, well, you know, you really suffered or whatever." And she said, "Well, I did lose half a day of skiing."
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm she's countersuing, I assume, for
$1.
yes, but I think to I don't know why she's on what basis.
Well, I
that
don't
she
know,
lost
but
half a day of skiing.
I
That
don't
she's-
know.
that she's being sued frivolously.
She said that she said that it's not a symbolic dollar, that she actually wants the dollar.
Well, I'll have to look more into this. This whole thing on its face.
On its face, what do you think?
It says on its face, Gwyneth Paltrow files countersuit. She's fighting back. She claims he skied into her. She sustained a full body blow. And she was shaken and upset and quit skiing for the day, even though it was still morning, said the claim.
Which is apparently very out of character for her.
What's out of character?
To not ski for the rest
To not
of
ski
the
for
day.
the rest of the day. Well, it's out of character for, I think, most people to just ski a little bit. Once you buy that lift ticket, usually you stay at least half the day. Are you a skier?
No, not anymore. I was as a kid.
I haven't skied since the last time I skied was at the Aspen Comedy Festival. I think it was 1998 when I was at the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival. Oh, that's Brian McFadden. Where there was, you know, the idea was to discover new talent. And I was there with a lot of people that have since become very, very big. Patton Oswalt was there.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Odenkirk was there. Dave
Oh,
Chappelle,
wow.
Dave Chappelle, I believe, was there. Tracy Morgan had just booked SNL, and he was there.
Wow.
And I was in a hot tub with Adam Sandler at the Ritz-Carlton. This was all back in like 97, 98 at the Aspen Comedy Festival. And that's the last time I skied. But I got a joke out of it. Because the joke was I said, you know, I skied the Black Diamond Trail, which is the most difficult.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, it was so steep, and I could barely get down it. I had to and then I found out that they have trails that are double Black Diamond. I'm like, what, they got landmines on those trails? Which was, you know, and then I think I added like, what, they got snipers shooting at you from the trees, you know? A joke worked very, very well in Aspen.
In Aspen.
I've tried it not in Aspen, and it doesn't work as well.
More lukewarm response.
More lukewarm response because you're not right there in a skiing environment, and not everybody's familiar with the ski code.
Right.
You know, the green circle is the easiest, and the blue square, and the black diamond is the hardest.
Right. So, speaking.
But anyway, that was the last time I skied, and that was quite a while ago.
It's a dangerous sport.
Well, I'm a clumsy, uncoordinated person, and I never got seriously injured. Knock on wood. I think it's dangerous. I think it can be made safe if you're careful and you ski within your ability.
My friend, speaking of ski injuries at exclusive resorts, my friend Kat, who you know,
I know Kat, yeah.
was just in Chamonix,
Yeah,
and
right, France, yeah.
and her friend broke her leg.
Yeah,
skiing,
yeah, you can
like
certainly
last week.
No question about it. It can be dangerous, but like many things, the danger can be mitigated by skiing within your limits, knowing your limitations, being careful, not skiing double black diamonds when you're a beginner.
I'm a bunny hill kind of girl.
And Brian Scott McFadden is here. Finally, he's.
What do you mean I'm late?
No, I mean that the previous 2 times we booked you, you couldn't make it, but now you are
busy
here.
Working. Hi.
And he brought with him a pizza with ham and pineapple.
I know. Go ahead, pillory me.
No, I'm not pillaring you, but if you must chew, please chew off mic.
Yeah, of course.
Hello, Brian McFadden. Brian Scott McFadden, everybody, is a comedian. He's an actor, and he's a voiceover artist.
Yeah.
Which is how you've made most of your income, I think, over your career. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
Unfortunately, I did very well in that field, which actually hurt my other things. I was focused more on that, because when you're the Honey Nut Cheerio Bee, or the M&M Peanut, or the Serta Sheep, or the voice of
That's
else?
quite a resume.
Quiznos. Quiznos taste better. I was I was Wendy's. I did all the Wendy's commercials for years, because no one in New York could do a surfer dude. So all the new wacky wind-ups from Wendy's. There's one in every pack. Collect all 6. You know, like I did lots of those. And yeah, I was doing that. I wasn't auditioning for sitcoms, which I should have been doing, right?
Well, yeah, but many people that audition for sitcoms book them, and then just to for the uninitiated, you audition typically for a pilot. That's an episode of a sitcom that is a test episode. And then the network looks at that episode and decides whether they want the pilot to become a series. Most pilots don't become series. So all the people I know that audition for sitcoms, some of them book pilots, and very few of those pilots got picked up for series. And of those, not a whole lot lasted very long. So you probably made more money than I mean, you put away some good cash.
I did. I bought an apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and but I could have. But I'm sort of like I was joking in my act that people introduce me. This is one of comedy's best kept secrets. You know what I mean? Which is anonymity is not something you want to cultivate in this industry. Like if there's any quality you want to sell, be your selling point. It's not.
But if you can have a nice apartment, the anonymity isn't so bad.
That's good for you, Dan, because you're a big name in this field. Dan wants a lower profile, obviously, because he's mobbed by girls and fans all the time.
I'm just saying you're doing your stand up and enjoying it, and you're not homeless.
Yeah,
so
that's
all
true.
told,
that's the standard. Okay, good. Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
you know what?
That's
not so bad.
That's not so bad. No, there is something to be said for not living on the street. You're right. There is definitely something.
But what? So what are your dreams and aspirations now?
That's a good question. Other than getting through this podcast right now, I'm trying to live in the moment. So I'm not looking past this podcast. I'm trying to desperately.
That's
just like I don't want to put pressure on myself. If this goes well, then I build. That's my point. These are the jokes, Dan.
Okay.
I just like that Dan's looking on the bright side.
Yeah. No, but what are my dreams? I love working on projects. I like, I want to do, I want to go, you know what I want to do? And this is not even a joke. I've had this obsession lately with the fact that British actors are taking all of our jobs. This is not even a bit. I do a bit about this, but I'm annoyed that the Brits are taking our jobs. Okay, they talk about the Mexicans coming here and taking our jobs. If Trump had wanted to build a wall around the Globe Theatre in London, I would have voted for him, because the Brits are taking all the jobs. They could not get an American actor to play Nixon or Lincoln. Does anyone think that there's anything weird about the fact that the most American presidents of all time, Lincoln and Nixon, and we couldn't find an American actor? So I want to play Brits, right? I'd like to go to England and start doing TV there and start playing and being the guy who does the reverse of that. That's what I'd like to do. So I've been working on it, and I want to get some auditions and start doing British TV and be the American guy who's totally fooling the Brits. Now, of course, there's people right now listening to this who are critiquing my accent. from England and going, and as Americans are going, that's pretty good, but Brits are going, no, I don't know if he's really nailing it, you know what I mean? But I want to do like a film or a TV show where I play a British guy. That's basically, I want to be a British guy in an American TV show who's not, so we can take the jobs back. We've got to fight for our rights as Americans.
They've taken a lot of hosting jobs. I mean,
yes, everything. They're taking it all, Dan. It's not just hosting jobs. They're playing. You go watch Ozark. You'll see a West Virginia coal miner. This is
it's been going on for a long time, bro.
No, I know that.
Do you know that Scarlett O'Hara
Yes.
was played by an English woman?
Yes, exactly.
Scarlett O'Hara
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Gone with the
It's
Wind,
outrageous.
the ultimate Southern belle, was
Outrageous.
played by Vivian Leigh, who is English, and Ashley Wilkes, I believe, likewise was English.
And that's the most offensive thing about that film.
Yes.
There's some people have other issues, but
Right.
that's the one I zone in on.
Yes, the fact that they had to go overseas, and they didn't even make the slightest attempt at a Southern accent.
No.
Ashley talked like Scarlett,
yeah.
you know nothing of love.
Yeah.
How is that a Southerner?
No, it's not even close. It's embarrassing, is what it's very.
But it's been going on for a long time.
It's been going on for a very long, but I don't think it's ever been as prevalent now because in that situation, they weren't even doing, but now they're doing our accents, but we're not doing theirs. There's no crossover because American actors suck at it.
Renee Zellweger played a Brit.
Yes, thank you for zooming in on the one. Meryl Streep nailing whatever she does. She played the Queen, whatever. Awesome. There's a handful of other, but you can give a million. Like I was saying, the Ozark show, you see a guy, I work on the coal mines, and my son got hooked on fentanyl, and my whole family's been devastated. And then the guy's on the Tonight Show. He's like, basically what I was doing with that Billy Bob character is I was trying to get into him. You know, I went to Oxford and I studied, but I felt a lot of kinship with Billy Bob. And I'm like, this is not right. That's not your lived experience. You know, that's the big thing. You can't play a character unless it's your lived experience. Which means that I don't know what this is. I can only do comedians who do podcasts in the middle of the at dusk. Is anyone listening to me? Why is there no laughter?
Well,
is there a laugh track on the show?
There's a laugh
I'm
track.
joking. I know that.
So Brian, but you've sort of de-emphasized voiceover now, and you.
I haven't de-emphasized. The industry has, right?
Okay.
The industry is not doing nearly as well. I'm sorry, I'm eating this. I didn't expect that. I thought we were going to warm up, and now the show's been going on for how long?
Well, Periel and I were talking briefly about the Gwyneth Paltrow ski accident.
Oh, right. What happened? I didn't.
Well, what happened? That's what we need to know. That's why we have a trial. Gwyneth
right.
and a retired optometrist collided.
Okay. What?
Now, I guess a joke could be made that the optometrist didn't see Gwyneth.
Oh, wait. So an optometrist? I can't keep up with everything.
A retired optometrist with perhaps a bad prescription, I don't know.
Okay.
Collided with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right.
He says actually that she collided with him.
Right, of course.
Yes.
Depends on who has more money.
She
is
says
the
he
person
collided
at fault.
with her, and that is the trial.
Yeah.
And it's been.
It's come to this. It's not quite OJ, is it? You know what I mean?
No, it's not quite OJ, but it is celebrities.
If the
and
speed
some
boot
of the-
doesn't fit, you must acquit.
And,
All right.
and there were some bizarre questions asked to Gwyneth, like, how tall are you? And
Right.
what was another
Are
bizarre?
you still dating the guy from Coldplay?
Right.
I don't know if they got into that. But anyway, that's what we were
And do you still have
discussing.
candles that smell like your vagina? That's good.
Well,
the goop, the goop.
They did talk about how she got ozone rectal therapy. There was some.
Was that in the trial?
Maybe.
Anyway, we were talking
hasn't?
about the trial. I don't want to get bogged down to the trial, but that's what we were discussing when you walked in with your Hawaiian pizza. But anyway, but that's interesting. You're talking about the voiceover industry. What happened to the voiceover industry?
A lot of things. It used to be that you could, if you wanted to be in voiceovers, you had to be in New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, and that's where all the recording studios were. And my father was a big voiceover actor. He was Snarf on the Thundercats, which I've talked about a million times on numerous podcasts. They always ask me
and he was
about
also
that.
Frankenberry.
And he was also the voice of Frank and Betty cereal. And so when my dad was doing voiceovers, there was like 5 guys who did all the voices for everything you saw on TV. And my father was one of them. He had a great career, and he was on so many commercials and cartoons. And And there was like in New York, you had to live in New York or Los Angeles because my father we lived in Jersey at the time. He commuted in. He'd audition for 8 things a day, and he'd always book like 1 or 2 of them. He had network national commercials. We had a very lovely house. He did very well. He came from nothing. He worked in a steel mill. And my dad, I want to play some sad music, right? As my father's Rudy story is yeah. But then he became successful, and that was the voiceover business. When I got into it, I auditioned 5, 6 times a day.
How old were you when you started?
In my 20s, when I got out of college. And so now, because of the internet, once again, just like everything else, the internet sort of disrupted the industry. And so someone in Iowa whose rent is like $400 can audition for the same thing that I'm auditioning for online, and they'll offer to pay him $400 for something that I would have gotten 20 grand for back in the 80s or 90s. So it's the business has gone very non-union. There's way more competition. There's people all over the country, hundreds of people auditioning for one thing, and as talented and gifted and prodigiously funny as I am, the numbers is a difficult thing to audition. So you audition for, and there's not as many commercials, and there's not as many network national commercials, and they don't pay as well. So it's a big fragmenting of the industry.
But thankfully you got.
I had a good year. I had a good run.
You had a good run while the getting was good. I used to audition for commercials.
Yeah.
Every now and again for voiceover.
Sorry, I missed that.
People always tell me that my voice is interesting and that I should do like voiceover, but I never did any of that work.
Well, you're a great. You also have a great radio host voice, like the.
I think I have a good voice for traffic and weather.
Yeah, amazing. Seriously,
we're backed up all the way to exit 7 on the BQE.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the upper deck.
I can see that. Yeah,
it's perfect.
You could be the wacky weather traffic guy. I can see that.
Slow going on the upper deck of the GW Bridge.
There you go. Look at that. He's a natural, ladies and gentlemen.
I had one voiceover job, which was I got hired to do the voice of a bra.
A bra.
A bra.
Okay, and?
It was funny. They wanted like this like Jewy broad voice.
Yeah.
And they got it.
And you got okay. What were the lines? That's what I want to know.
Oh God, I don't remember. I don't remember.
No, because I was the king of talking animals. I made a list of all the talking animals I've done over the years: a rabbit, a kangaroo, a flea, a cockroach, a cow, a sheep, a rabbit.
Well, you were the honey bee.
I was a Honey Nut
Cheerios honey bee.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Now, how did you decide? Now, could you tell us what voice you used for the honey bee?
At the
and
time,
how you came up with the voice?
Okay, well, I always tell people who ever want to do cartoon voices, sometimes I used to have a technique, which I don't even do anymore, but I used to do it, where you would contort your body. You would contort your body or your face, scrunch up your face right now, Dan. Okay, now do the voice that comes out of that.
Hello. My name is Ronnie the Rhinoceros.
Yeah, see that? Now that's slightly different. He's just trying it out now. But a lot of times you'll contort your voice, and then hi, my name is Freddie, and and you'll do a voice will come out of that, and it could be like, hi, my name is Fred, and and you'll be a monster or something like that. Sometimes you'll contort your voice, and so I had this stretch run where no one could do a surfer dude. In fact, I did Keanu Reeves' voice for Bill and Ted's Excellent Cereal. They actually came out with a cereal because Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure came out. It was such a hit, so they wanted to put out a cereal. Don't ask me why. It wasn't my decision, but they came out with a cereal, and Keanu, of course, they would have had to pay like $1 million, $2 million or something at the time. And so they got me to do it for SAG scale. And so if you see the commercial, I think it's on YouTube, it's me going, it's got cinnamon oats and marshmallow notes. It's the most excellent way to start your day, And that was me doing that. And I made a living just on surfer dudes for like a stretch run of like.
You became known as a surfer dude.
I was like the surfer dude guy.
Obviously, Sean Penn would have cost a lot more as well.
Yeah, exactly. And for some reason,
did Sean Penn invent? This was a discussion I was having with somebody.
Spicoli thing. Yeah.
Spicoli is like whenever somebody thinks of a surfer dude from California, they do the voice of Spicoli. Did Sean Penn invent that, or was that already the stereotypical surfer voice? Prior
I think I read an interview with him where he said he based on all of his friends or people that he knew. Okay. So I don't know. Yeah,
it probably came from somewhere. I also wonder about. I used to wonder about where Archie Bunker got his voice.
Oh, geez,
But then I heard a fireman after 9/11. There was a fireman that was talking, and he sounded like Archie Bunker.
Absolutely.
So I said, "Oh, I guess that's how people talk from Queens."
Oh yeah, that's
Huh?
that's exactly.
Oh,
how people-
stop yourself, dear.
And then he just like tuned it up to
Yeah.
to 11, if you
yeah,
will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And came up with
And
that.
so
voice.
I did that, and I would do the Honey Nut Cheerio Bee, and then I went through this weird period where I was just doing like the Honey Nut Cheerio Bee. They said it was a bee,
So you think buzz, so it's got to be something up here in this register. So it's like it's got.
Well, you think that, but
yeah.
bees might have a baritone voice.
Yes, they might, but
Like Barry White.
Well, see, that's a thank
You know, like Abe
Good.
Lincoln. Everybody assumes Abe Lincoln said,
Right.
"Oh, school," but apparently Abe Lincoln had a tinny voice.
right. So he sounded like
He
Paul
sounded,
Lynde, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
A little bit. He's four score.
107 years ago. Wonderful. Oh, our forefathers.
But so we assume that the bee has a buzzy
you
voice.
assume, but you don't know.
We
You
don't
just
know.
give them options.
Okay,
You know,
so-
so you give them options, and so you'll do something like,
It's got a bigger, it's got a bigger taste and a better crunch. Even more for your big mouth to munch.
which they wanted a high-voiced, cartoony character. Now, if you watch a lot of these things, they're more natural. They don't want cartoony. So I don't know what. So if you watch the M&Ms now, they're like, "Hey, Fred, you know how you doing, Bill?" You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're construction workers. So so if you watch those commercials now, a lot of that stuff has gone out of favor. So and then
Now, the one cartoon voiceover artist that everybody knows, of course, is Mel Blanc,
yes,
right?
Mel Blanc. Yeah.
Is he considered like a genius?
Yeah, my father told me Mel Blanc. All those characters that you see. This is what's funny about Mel Blanc. My father said what made Mel Blanc so great was he was now, not to say that this is a weird way of putting it, but my father said he was a bad mimic. So all those characters you see are bad impersonations of old radio characters and actors that you would see. So all those guys that he's voiced, like Bugs Bunny, I go, well, Dad, who's Bugs Bunny? My father used to always break this down for me. He'd go, Bugs Bunny is the guy from the East Side Kids, Leo Gorsey and Hunts Hall. There was these old serial black and white things, and he would, hey, what are you doing there, huh? You know, like he had that high voice.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Doc? You know, and that was basically an impersonation of him. But
okay.
it wasn't that great. It was just captured this essence of something. Not to say that Mel couldn't impersonate anybody. He was a great mimic as well. But I'm sure. But all those voices, not Deputy Dog. He did all those like all the whatchamacallit, the Warner Brothers cartoons that he did the voice for, a lot of those were characters.
Which is
and
characters that
actors.
he just changed just a little bit.
Yeah, it changed a little bit, and he took them. And meanwhile, there was like other cartoons that you would hear, like John Biner. Do you know John Biner? He was a comic actor,
yeah,
voiceover.
I
Yeah,
remember, yeah.
and he did the Ant and the Aardvark cartoon. Did you ever see the Ant and the
I don't
Aardvark?
think
Nobody
I-
remembers that. The Aardvark was Jackie Mason.
Oh.
So and the Ant was Dean Martin. And so he would do the voice, but he did voices. So you see, wait till I get my hands on that ant. I'm going to eat him. It's going to be the most unbelievable thing, you know. And you hear the ant was, oh, boy, I hope that aardvark don't catch me. And it was Dean Martin. It was him doing Dean Martin. So if you watch a lot of old cartoons, people are doing
They're just imitating.
actors that they've heard or something, and it's close. Like Family Guy, you hear what's her name's doing one of the woman from the Honeymooners, you know?
Oh, you mean the
Yeah,
the wife?
The wife is dead on.
doing with Audrey Meadows.
Alice.
Is that Audrey Meadows?
Yeah, no, yes, no. Audrey Meadows. I don't know.
Whoever it was.
Whoever it was, but the callers will call in angrily
Yeah,
and
if
say
there were
you know,
callers, they
no,
might
Joyce
call in.
Randolph was
No,
her friend.
oh yeah,
and so it's yeah,
the,
you were right.
The wife in Family Guy is basically
it's
doing the
kinda-
honeymooners.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so they're doing him, and he's kind of like, I'm trying to think, like
It's Peter Griffin.
yeah, Peter Griffin is somebody also. He's sort of doing an impersonation of somebody, but it's like, oh yeah, there. You know, it's kind of like a New York guy. It's kind of like not an Archie Bunker, but Jackie Gleason, but not really. And he's great though. He does a lot of those voices are very distinct, and I can't even tell if he's doing somebody.
But just to transition.
Yeah.
Your vocal skills are not going to waste because you use them in your stand-up act.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do the British, the CNN
Yeah.
reporter. You do the pilot voice.
Yes, I do those. I always found that in my act, I always thought I was so terrified when I first started in stand-up. I thought, okay, I'll write a bit that has a really funny voice that's in a weirdly funny situation, and I'll put some funny lines in it. So the dumb people will just laugh at the funny voice, right? The smart people will get the jokes, and if everybody's on board, it will have something to appeal to everybody. So I always wrote very interesting. I wrote dumb sounding characters or ritzy sounding characters who are saying dumb things and funny lines with a funny voice in a weird situation. So the CNN guy is doing a doorman strike, like that, having that character do that, or the pilot guy is a New York guy, as a pilot going, "How you doing, everybody? Check your freaking, fill out your friggin' forms. What is it called? Your customs forms. All right. Yeah, pull that shit out because I got things to do. I don't have all day here. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I always thought it would be fun. I always thought it was funny that no one who pilots an airplane ever has that accent. It's only the Midwestern. Good afternoon, everybody. This is your pilot speaking.
I haven't just flying around. I don't hear as much of that. I think that was more. I think that's fading away a little bit.
Well, thank you for debunking that.
I know. I think that's the classic pilot.
Yes,
voice.
that's the classic pilot.
I think it's a little bit less now.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's been more diversity also, and I'm sure people in Europe don't have that. but I think that what I always hear them doing, just like sportscasters have a cadence and a rhythm, and the announcers on the CNN thing. People laugh about that CNN bit that I came up with, and I didn't think they would ever laugh at the beginning. I thought they'd laugh at the end thing because it's the.
But they laugh at the.
They laugh
CNN
at the setup
because the voice is.
Because because every CNN disaster story is the same, and I noticed this, and I just was like, "That's weird." I just did it on stage. I thought, well, I'll put him in a weird situation, but I didn't even have to do that. I just did the voice of the guy. A young child wanders the streets of a mud-cracked hillside. His tear-stained face. And the gunfire tells the story, for a tragedy has taken hold here that has crippled this once peaceful village.
And then you take that, and then you take that and you put into a ridiculous situation.
I take that voice, but I do the voice and I do the whole, and there's no jokes in that. That's the weird part.
But they're laughing because of
the recognition
of the recognition.
Yeah,
and they're laughing again when you do that same voice in a stupid situation.
He's covering something banal and
comedian
boring.
That bombed.
Yeah, or a comedian that bombed. Here, live, a man has gone down in flames. His jokes bombing horribly. The pain is excruciating. No one can really describe the carnage. I thought it was funny to put that guy with that level of gravitas and serious stakes into a situation where there's nothing at stake and it's really dumb. And that's, to me, that's funny.
And then you go to the spectators who also have
and then because they always ask the guy, they always find a guy they have to translate, and it's the same every time, and no one ever notices. And so I wrote a bit about it. I didn't think the beginning part would get any laughs, but it was like we spoke to one eyewitness. And then they always have that
translator voice.
The translator. I don't know what I will do. Things are very bad here now. This was once a peaceful place to live, and they have this soft voice. They always have this, and they're talking without any emphasis on anything. It's very interesting, and I hear stuff like that. I just pick up on stuff like that. So they got, anger has turned to fear.
That, by the way, just like related but not perfectly related. That must be such a hard job to translate while somebody is talking,
right?
Because they're talking. You're translating. They're still talking. Mm-hmm. They ain't stopped talking. But you got to. I mean, that seems to me like pretty friggin' challenging.
That's a gift right there
to do. And by the way, they're probably screwing it up.
Of course,
and nobody knows.
And you would know if you spoke the language.
There's a guy speaking Swahili. You have no idea.
You don't know.
You know what I mean? And have no idea.
Native
what he said.
Swahilophones would know.
Yeah, Swahilophones.
So, I want to talk about my favorite joke of yours. Is my favorite? It's the one that I find most impressive.
Okay.
It's the joke about. What women want, what kind of man women want.
Yes, thank you.
And you talk about the contradictions that women seem to want things that are in contradiction with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like they want a man that's rugged and outdoorsy, but he loves children. That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's impressive about that joke is that's a joke that is everywhere. It's about 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we want to cut. Do you mind if we cut it in?
No,
to the podcast.
Sure. Absolutely. I did it on Letterman. It got me Letterman. That bit alone got me television exposure because I wrote this thing and I stayed up late at night with a thesaurus coming up with every possible. It's exhausting. You should see the sheets of paper I have for all the ones that didn't make the cut. I was going to put out a mug with them on it.
Oh, I love that.
Because he has all these alliterative like things that women want that are contradictory, and it goes on and on and on. And it's like it has to be. It's like you can't really mess it up. You can't.
No.
It's got to be in the right order with the right words.
Yeah, it's
confident but not cocky.
Yeah, smart but not nerdy. Smart but not nerdy. So, I can't remember. So it's so funny. I've done it for years. I get smart but not nerdy, caring but not needy, affectionate but not clingy, protective but not possessive, emotional but not neurotic, funny but not a clown, dominant but not domineering, and in control but not controlling. Right?
Yeah. So
which one day I blurted it out at the comic strip. I was performing there, and I was working it out. And one day I blurted that part out. And it got a titanic applause.
With the in control but not control?
Yeah, which I didn't expect. And it got this titanic. I knew I had something, but it's like you're writing a song and you go, okay, this is really good, but I don't know. But it exploded in applause. And I was like, oh, okay, good. But there's like parts of that I really like that when you do a line, when you do a bit like that, you have to have like levels that drop and then that come back up. And then there's a part in there where it's like that women also say they want a bit of a bad boy, a man with an edge, a little bit of mystery, even a little hint of danger. Who loves kids, right? That big build-up, single punchline. Then there's one where it's like women also say they want a sexy, dynamic, attractive, charismatic guy who has that special, sensual, animal quality that drives women wild, who's not a player, okay? Right? Like, stuff like that where it's like this cascade of information. And I used to write like that because I always thought they'll just give me an applause just for the work I put in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But deservedly so.
Yeah,
by the way.
right. But
because like I said, it's just it's. I don't have any jokes that are like that wherein it's just. You have to. It's so precise in terms of, and it's long, and it has to be said with such precision.
Right.
And
no, you have your
my jokes tend to be small, short.
Yeah, but your word choices are,
Yeah, I put thought into the words, but they're short jokes.
Right.
So I don't have to memorize 5 minutes of that kind of thing.
It actually makes me feel so much better to know that you stay up all night with a thesaurus doing
absolutely.
that. Because, I mean, I've watched you so many times, and I'm never not in awe of the linguistic. I mean, I've said it more than once. I mean, you're like a maestro. So I'm glad to know that
she said it twice.
Well, no, but see, that's funny because I get very tired of having to do that. That bit was blood like spurting out my neck. Like I stayed up. It was torture. Like I was sitting there incrementally writing that thing, and it really took a lot out of me in the sense of like just kind of like I wrote so many versions of it, and it was just like, and I was like, I don't know how to do it. And one day at the strip. I blurted it out, and I luckily I taped it, and I was like, and there was one part where I think that really sealed it, which was, and I knew I had the ending first, which was women want a gay football coach, right? Right? Okay, what do women want? A gay football coach, like a macho guy who's sensitive. They want a gay football coach. I had the ending, and I had the beginning. And you
had the premise,
and I had the premise, and then I just had to work it. But there's a part. What's the one? There's a part. A guy who horny, but I can't remember. It's the middle run.
You don't remember when you kind of do it all.
Yeah. When I do it out of sequence, it's like the guy they want a guy serious but playful, confident. Serious but playful. They want a guy things that don't mix. They want a guy who's serious but playful, who's horny but. God, I can't remember. What the hell? Play it for me. I can't even remember. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember the bit now. But there was like these little parts where I broke it up into different sections. It's like a musical piece. It's like kind of like a song, and I put so much. Yeah, I did. It was exhausting, that one. And I have 3 bits right now that are sitting on my shelf that are like really funny, but they require so much memorization. They're like that,
Right.
and there's so much.
People often ask me, like, how do you memorize? Like, I was up there
Yeah.
for 45 minutes. How do you memorize it? And I'm like, it's easy because I've been doing these jokes.
Right.
I do the jokes over years.
Yeah.
So it's easy to memorize.
Right.
But my jokes are short.
Yeah.
That joke,
Yeah.
the what women want joke,
Yeah, I had to drill
would be
that.
difficult to.
And what's funny, here's a funny story. On Letterman, they cut one of the lines at the last minute. They cut it. And they said they don't want you to say a bit of a bad boy, a man with an edge, a little bit of mystery, even a little hint of danger, who loves kids. They didn't want that because they thought it was, I don't know, like he's a bad guy who hits women and but he likes, yeah, I don't know. It was and that was back then. And they said we don't want you to do that line, and that was grooved in, right? So if you watch the show,
you take it out, it's hard to.
No one would notice, but I see it. There's a moment where I go to do it. And then I pivot out of it, and it's so minuscule, no one would ever notice. But for me, it's like you're doing a song, and it's hard to not do the song the way you've grooved it in. But I did it. I pulled it off, and you don't know. No one would ever notice it. The bit still works without it, and that was one of the things that I tried to write. But I was basically out of fear of not being good enough or something. I figured I'll throw so much information at the audience that if they don't laugh, at least they'll just applaud me because they'll be exhausted from having that I did that much work on the bit. And that actually paid off in that regard. But I have a bit now where, you go to, I don't want to pivot here, but you go to like Dunkin' Donuts. I always get caught behind the person who's like catering a movie shoot, you know what I mean? Like at Dunkin' Donuts. And they have an incredibly elaborate, complex order right ahead of me. Right. It's never the woman that's getting like a small decaf, you know what I mean, with no black, you know. Right. It's always the woman. It's like, okay, I want one, and I do a Long Island woman because this happened to me in Long Island where a woman's like, I want I want 3 2 Stevias and 1 Splenda, and then in the one half, in the decaf, then I want the latte to have 1 equal and 1 stevia and 1 Splenda, and then I want one without any sweetener at all. And can you put caramel syrup in the latte, but leave it out of the other one? And then I want 4. I want 4 hot chocolates, but I don't want any creamer in one. But put 1 creamer. Coconut milk in the 2 on the left, and then there's 1 with soy, and then I'd like another one with just milk, if that's okay. But 2% if you have, and it has all of these.
I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah, I haven't done it.
Oh,
I did it. I've done it like a few times, but it's an absolute list joke of just the most absurd, horrific order.
So you haven't done it because you haven't memorized it yet?
It has so much. I've tried to do it, and if you fuck it up, it's just like what women want in the sense that 2 stevias, 1 equal, and 1 Splenda. And then I want 1 with brown sugar, okay, and 1 without the brown sugar, but put 1 equal and 3 Splendas in the one with the stevia.
This also brings up a general point in stand-up comedy, just as a general inside thing about stand-up. There are certain jokes that are, if a joke is very, very long, and it's not working, you can't just abandon it. Like, I have short jokes. If it doesn't work, boom, I go to the next joke. If you're in the middle of what women want and you're not sensing that it's working, what can you do? Is there a way to get out of it earlier?
You hit the eject button. I mean, most of the time, I have a couple like that where I go, what I usually end up doing is just speeding up, and then I'll micro edit. Where, like, there's a couple of, I do that pilot thing where the guy's like, yeah, can you look to the left of the plane? You know what, you're going to see the guy we threw out of the right side of the plane, I do this thing. And there's a couple times where that bit's they're not biting on it. So I'll just cut 3 of the lines and get to the punch. And I usually focus that the end joke better be killer, right? Like you have to have, especially in a long bit. If you have the longer that plank is you're walking, like that end joke has to crush, and I always hired people like, oh God, Mitch Hedberg, he had these artwork one-liners.
But they were all very short.
It's ridiculous. It's like, I was so jealous. I was like, what the hell? I gotta, the CNN bit, you know what I mean? It's 9 hours long, and Mitch Hedberg.
I mean, you could do the one, that's not your style.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my style. And
a lot of, now Phil Hanley, I think, does a lot of one-line, like as the new generation, like, that, and Dimitri Martin, right? He's like that, and Stephen Wright was like that,
right?
I think Sorry,
Mark Norman.
does he do one-liners? He doesn't really do one-line. No, he does.
No, he does.
I compare the.
No, he's not really technically a one-liner guy, but he
To bring this all back to
Sure.
skiing.
Yeah.
Here's an analogy I have. I don't know if it'll make any sense. There's the short jokes. Those are like your slalom skiers. Then there's your long jokes. That's like the downhill skiers.
Yeah, yeah.
Just long downhill.
Right.
Now me, I'm giant slalom.
Yeah.
My jokes are not one liner,
Right. Yeah.
but it's not straight down the hill. It's
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
my,
And it's a
my
consistent-
jokes are like a couple of minutes each.
Yes, and there's a consistent.
If anybody finds that analogy interesting, let us know.
You have also you have like this old school delivery that's very classic comedy, like because you don't see the jokes coming. You're very committed to the joke. You have this new thing which I thought was really funny, which I didn't. Your sister. What's the one about your sister? The one where you got to talk to a girl who's been with a lot of guys.
Yeah, I was talking about comparing penis size. I don't know if these stereotypes about race and penis size are true. I'd have to ask somebody that's seen a lot of.
Now stop right there. Now right here, this is what I love about this bit is that you're ostensibly this is a dirty joke right here. Okay, like in terms of it appears to be a dirty joke, and it's you talking dirty in a way about penis size, so it's a little edgy, so the audience doesn't know where this is going, and so they're sort of captivated by just this. But the switcheroo at the end is the killer part because no one senses that. Like I didn't see it coming, and it's like you're just talking about penis size. I guess I got to talk to the finish.
I guess I need to talk to somebody that's seen a lot of different kinds, but me and my sister aren't speaking right now. So,
that is such a perfectly worded punchline. It just comes out of nowhere, and you don't see it coming. And there's an innocent commitment that you have to the piece itself that you're just talking and you're just rambling about this thing that's bothering you. And then it turns out there's this dark twist at the end.
He has several jokes like that.
Incidentally,
Neither of
my sisters, as far as I know, are overly promiscuous.
Right.
But it's the joke.
Right. And your
cousin
cousin
Sheila. I just want to
my
clarify.
cousin Sheila coming over here.
I just want to clarify that my act is not about me. A lot of comedians are very personal.
Right.
I'm not personal at all. Everything that happened in my joke, you could bet, probably never really occurred in real life.
It's the same setup and premise with the banana joke.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's not the same setup and premise.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing that you never see that. What you think the joke.
I hope you don't see it. The idea of a joke is that you don't see it coming.
But see, when
so hopefully you don't see it coming.
Right, but to write like that, right? Where what was if I would say to you, like the thing about me, why I wrote CNN Guy, I noticed the broadcast. I used to mimic the broadcast all the time. Then I said, I want to write a bit about this because no one's talking about it. It just seems weird that the same guys are doing every CNN. A young child wanders the streets of and I wrote the cadence and rhythm of that guy with all the cliches that they do. Very quickly, they would do a thing, which I didn't put in the act, but they would go, a child's toy, an abandoned bicycle, and a flaming truck tire. 3 things you would see in any town, but here... here harbinger of a war that has no end. They would pick 3 things in the frame. I don't know why. It happens all the time. You'll see it. It's a formula. They go an abandoned bicycle, a pile of mud, and a child's shoe. These are an innocent tableau in any other place, but here they are symbols of a war that appears to have no end, right? And it's this weird, what the fuck did you just do? And they do it on every time. So I just wrote that. Now, you're doing the thing. So you got that banana thing. What was the genesis of that?
Banana joke?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap, for those that don't know.
Are you on the subway and you're reading a banana? What?
That joke has sort of become well-known because Louis C.K. quoted it on a podcast. The joke is my sex ed teacher, Mr. Morales, he got fired. He was inappropriate. He came to class. He said, class, today I'm going to demonstrate how to put on a condom. That's why I have this banana with me because I can't get hard on an empty stomach. That's the joke. Now, what's the genesis of that joke? The genesis of that joke, I'll tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Okay.
I used to have a joke years ago. I always thought sex ed was a good topic for a joke. I figured there's got to be a joke in sex ed. There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. And years ago, I did a joke where, like, I raised my hand. I said, "Teacher, how effective are condoms?" And the teacher said, "You aren't getting any anyway. Don't worry about it." So and that was okay. But it never crushed. It was never brilliant. It was never a joke that was going to stand out. Right. I said, "There's got to be something funnier." Years later, I was thinking about it, and I said, "There's got to." I just kind of was. One day, I was like, there's got to be something funnier about sex ed than that, and I just started thinking, all right, what do sex ed teachers do? They teach you to put on a condom. I'm literally going down the path, not knowing where it's going to end. Okay, all right, condom, banana. Okay, the teacher is using a banana. I still don't know where it's going.
Right, now.
And then I say, oh, wait a minute. Now, what if he's not bringing the banana in to put the condom on, but because he can't get hard on an empty stomach? I mean, I
don't know where you get that punchline. I still don't even understand it, and I laugh every time I hear it. And I go, wait, what does that even mean? Like the banana can. There's something so recklessly funny about that, and I don't know why, but it's just so freaking funny. But the funny part about that joke is a million funny components of that joke, but that's funny. The punchline crushes right there. But that would be funny enough. But then it goes into another dark. It goes into many other dark. We go down a dark Dan Naturman
But then I
rabbit
talk
hole.
about how, like, what did I say? I said, well, you remember how to put a condom on because, you don't forget a teacher putting a condom on his rock hard cock, especially when you're the one that got him.
Okay,
hard.
You don't now. So there's two jokes there. Okay, you got a punchline, a rock hard cock, a teacher putting a rock hard cock. So the audience is now, oh, that's funny, and then the coup de grace right at the end of that, which is especially when you're the guy that got him hard. Okay,
and then I'll add, I was hoping for a class participation credit, but then he gets fired and it didn't transfer.
Right, right. So there's which is a kind of.
But those came naturally from the hard part was getting the can't get hard on an empty stomach. The rest kind of came naturally. But as to how I wrote it, it was just trial and error. The same thing with my cousin Sheila joke about how my cousin Sheila, I by accident texted my cousin Sheila, "Come over, I'm horny." And then when I realized what I had done, I apologized. I said, "Sorry, that was meant for somebody else.
Right.
Sorry you came all the way over here."
Right.
Again, trial and error. I knew there was something funny about sending a text to the wrong person. We've all done it, number one.
Everyone's done it.
And sending it. So I had different.
That's the best joke about sending the wrong text to somebody that I know, especially your salesmanship of the joke, because it's that Dan Naturman innocence tinge with the darkness.
Devilish. I had other versions where, like, my aunt, I asked for a titty pic and then. From my aunt by mistake, and it was not a pretty picture. Like
right.
Similar ideas.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out. Well, all right, maybe I could do better than that.
Yeah.
Okay. I sent it. So what if I send my cousin, "Come over, I'm horny"? Just not knowing where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
Was Mr. Morales
So again,
real?
it's just. Well, there's a Mr. Morales out there somewhere, perhaps.
But you made. But that's
Mr. Morales. No. My ninth grade health teacher was a perfect gentleman who never molested anybody. At a Vietnam,
you weren't
veteran.
sitting at a computer. Were you on the subways?
I don't remember where I think when I wrote the banana joke, I was walking to Central Park to do one of those outdoor stand-up New York shows that they were doing during the pandemic outside by the tree.
Yes. I did several.
I think so. But I'm not sitting down writing. I'm wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
One recent joke that I wrote about the gym, I actually was at the gym.
Right.
And
is that the stalker one?
That's the one where I'm at the gym and I say to the girl, "Hey, you got here a bit later than normal."
And you're not wearing that. I like that outfit better than the one you were wearing. I see that once again. That's the next joke is funnier than the one.
But again,
before.
meeting women at the gym was always just an idea. I said there's got to be something funny about meeting women at the gym.
Yeah.
Now I had a joke originally where I said I tried to talk to a woman at the gym and she said, "Leave me alone. I'm trying." And what are you doing in the women's locker room?
Right. Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It got some laughs.
Okay, yeah.
But it wasn't killer.
It wasn't that.
But so I said, there's got to be a better one.
Right.
There's got to be a better joke about meeting women at the gym.
And
eventually, and by the way, years go by.
Yeah.
When I don't find it.
Right.
And somehow.
And you shelve it.
I just, I'm at the gym, I'm like, there's got to be another joke about meeting women at the gym. I'm seeing all these pretty women around, and I'm thinking, What's another joke I worked on for years is about how being an uncle is easier than being a parent.
Right.
Years went by before I figured out the right punchline.
Yeah, now it's because you're writing. Like you tell people that that took years to crack that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, well, you see, somebody Chappelle coming out with a new hour every month, a couple of months or something, or some comedians putting out 5 CDs in 5 years, and then you see the precision that goes into like a great joke like that, and you wonder are comedians now different the way their minds are wired? Because
if you're talking about like real things, then you can come up with more material faster. I think.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how many? There's only so many Mr. Morales jokes and Cousin Sheila jokes.
Yeah, that's true.
That I can come up with.
Right.
But if I'm just talking about Kanye.
Yeah.
And and saying things as they are.
Yeah.
When sometimes something is funny, I mean, one of my jokes is funny not because it's clever, not because it's got it's crafted well, just because it's true.
Right.
The joke is when I say, when after Trump was in 2016, all these Americans were saying, if Trump gets elected, I'm moving to Canada, and then Trump gets elected, and they're like, I ain't fucking moving to Canada.
Right.
And it gets a big laugh.
Yeah.
It's not clever.
Right.
It's not. There's no.
It's just true.
It's just true.
It's current.
It's just true.
Yeah.
That's all it is true.
Yeah.
And if there's Canadians in the audience, it makes it more, connects it more. So I was like, yeah, you Canadians, I know we kind of, we said in 2016 and we're going to move, and then Trump was like, we I'm going to fucking move there.
Right.
And because there's Canadians in the audience, it makes it a little funnier still. So, but that joke required no effort to write.
Right.
0 effort to write.
Yeah.
And it gets roughly the same laughs as a lot of the other jokes.
That's what's funny is that some of the stuff I've written, like the What Women Want thing, I wanted to write. I did set out to write. I said, there's certain comics that have, like Gary Goldman has the the abbreviations of the states.
Right.
Joke,
That's a 10-minute.
You can't do a joke about that ever again. Like he retired that premise. You know what I mean? Like that premise is.
I don't know if anybody even tried that premise.
No, I don't think anyone ever did.
Your premise, I think people have tried.
Oh yeah, they have. And so, but I think Brian Regan has this thing about the scoring in tennis, which is so epic and it's great, and he nails and he strip mines it of almost every possible angle you could do. And I just go, okay, he just retired that premise. No one's going to be able to write a bit as good as that, right? And so when I wrote What Women Want, I said, all right, I want to hit. That's my my free bird or something. Yeah, I want to hit it out of the park and nail every possible angle. So that's what I sort of set out to do. I go, I want to retire this premise. Not there's no one that premise is too lucrative, and rich in possibilities that I really am going to retire it. But What Women Want.
Yeah, but people have alluded to those contradictions.
Those contradictions.
But they haven't done a 5-minute.
Yeah. It was
symphony.
It was kind of my magnum opus on what I wanted to say, and to see if I can write a bit that from beginning to end has all these levels, and I'm just gonna like excavate every possible angle, and so that people will just go, okay. That bit will be hard to top for, and you can't do that with a lot of things. And very rarely, I thought the CNN guy, no one's going to be able to do a CNN bit like that. I think I nailed that. But that doesn't, it's hard, it's like there's not many times where I can go, yeah, I got those two, and I got a number of other jokes. I go, I got a great joke about that or a great joke about that. But it's hard to find a premise. And sometimes you want to like strict all the juice out of it. And for those two experiences and those two premises, I feel like I kind of did that. Not that you can't do a bit about it, but I did it in a really good, proud way.
I think
a way that I could be proud
everything
of.
Out of it.
Yeah. So that's like a fun thing. But doing long bits like that is hard, and doing one-liners, I always like, God, I wish I...
But see, I don't do long bits or one-liners.
Yeah, you're in the middle ground.
That's why I call it the giant slalom.
Yeah.
Skiers may, once again, I say, I don't know if that analogy makes perfect sense to me. I don't know if anybody else. Anyway.
Absolutely. It does. I get it.
And we bring it all back to Gwyneth Paltrow and a ski accident.
Yeah, back to the Gwyneth Paltrow. And what else is in the news or whatever? What do we do on the show?
Well, typically what we do when Noam is here is we discuss.
Where's Norm?
Where's Noam? Noam is sick. Noam is sick. He's ill. He's ill at home, and we're sorry that he couldn't be here.
Hey, Noam.
By the way, Noam bought the McDonald's around the corner. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard about
McDonald's on 6th Avenue and West 3rd.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more comedy.
I know. I heard. There's going to be. That's. Now, when did this happen? When did this?
Like 2 weeks ago, I think he closed the deal.
Wow.
That it was very recent.
That's awesome.
I mean, he's been like, he put in a bid and whatever the process is, and I'm not a real estate person, but he got the, I guess he put in the best bid or whatever, or had,
Right.
whatever it is, he got the building.
It's just a mall. This whole
It's
thing.
like
it's
it
a
is
mall
like
of comedy.
it's like the comedy, like that one,
Fantastic.
like on 6th Street, there's all the Indian restaurants.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So like here,
This
it's,
is this is going to be
this
the
is-
hub of
this
comedy.
This is like
That's fantastic.
but it's all one owner
Yes. Yeah.
because Noam turns away X number of people every week.
Right. I know.
And those people end up going to other clubs.
Right.
So Noam said, well, why don't I open up my club
Yeah.
and get my own
McDonald's,
overflow?
yes.
And so the McDonald's is going to be,
Now, who knew the McDonald's was not doing well here in that? That
for
location,
some
you know,
reason,
It was infamous that
I
McDonald's.
think it was very dangerous. There's a
It
lot of
was very
criminality.
unbelievable. Yeah.
And that's why, because usually McDonald's make usually I should say, normally I would tell Noam, put the McDonald's back in there.
right.
You know?
You mean
I mean,
open a McDonald's?
Yeah, that's open McDonald's. You want to make money, but for
Right.
some reason that,
Yeah.
and also he's not allowed, according to the terms of the sale, to open up a fast food restaurant anyway.
Oh, okay.
The terms of the sale have some exclusions in
Right.
it. I don't know how these things work, but
Right. That's
he's not
interesting.
allowed. to
Also,
open
I
a
have
fast food
heard
restaurant.
that many of the Indian restaurants on 6th Street share the same kitchen.
Really?
I think that is what's known as an urban legend.
I mean,
That's just like a joke where they say, "Oh, it's all one kitchen." Yeah, it's an old joke. I heard that about Chinese restaurants too. It's they all
Yeah.
have one kitchen.
And it's in McDonald's.
Yeah, but Periel also believed last week. Forgive me for bringing this up.
No. By all means, bring it up. And I would like to tell you that I spoke to 2 other people
That believed it.
that thought it was true also.
She thought that Kentucky Fried Chicken changed its name to KFC because legally what they were selling was not chicken. And Noam
lost his
Noam
mind.
laced into her
Oh.
in a way that I couldn't duplicate.
Is,
So
is she mixing up the Subway story that they found out that it wasn't real meat? That's Subway. Did you hear about that?
Wait
no.
a second.
They went to Subway sandwich
Right, yeah.
places, and they did like DNA tests on some of the. This is true. I mean, they talk and for some weird reason, DNA. They said that like the tuna isn't tuna. That there's no tuna in
Well,
the
they didn't-
tuna. They
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
Well, it's a fish of some sort.
Well, I don't even know if it's of this planet.
Are you?
I don't
are
know
you?
what
Is this another urban legend?
No, this is absolutely true. They did a thing. It was all over the news for a while. It's not. I didn't see. For instance, I didn't read that KFC. I never heard that story. But did you do a Subway? Are you doing?
No, I did the chicken one, and you guys make me sound like I'm a moron, but the truth is
I
is
didn't.
that
Well,
not
no one
you.
made you sound like you were a
that
moron.
there it was a popular theory. Is
A lot of popular theories. The popular theory is that the Earth is flat. Is a popular theory. You know,
Wait,
there are a lot of popular theories. Popular theories that the government blew up the World Trade Center. I
Right.
mean, there are a lot of popular theories out there that don't hold a whole lot of water.
yeah. Well, no, there's a thing about Subway sandwich places that
What?
they look it up. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not bad at this, but there was something about there's no actual meat in some of the meat. It's not real
No
meat. They didn't know
Well,
what
that,
it
that
was.
sounds to me like it's possibly another KFC story that's not really true, but I don't know.
So okay, Subway sandwich.
I'm looking it up.
No meat. Does Subway have fake meat? All right, hold on. This guy does everything. You'll need to order. There's no meat. Okay.
While you're looking that up, I remember also that there was something about.
Oh yeah, here we go. There's a tuna controversy. I'm sorry.
No, go
Okay,
ahead.
the
Go ahead.
tuna
There's a tuna controversy at, Subway commits to more vegan options after tuna controversy. In the wake of the recent no tuna controversy, plant-based options might say saying with more than 40,000 selling a mixture of various concoctions in its popular tuna sandwiches.
Ew.
They sued them, alleged that the hero ingredient wasn't what it was being marketed as, but was instead made from anything but tuna. Okay, okay,
That's
this is
a
in the
good
news.
premise.
Yeah,
for-
But it was.
It's
well,
fiberglass.
here's I have.
Ew.
This is from NPR. A U.S. judge rules that Subway can be sued over its 100% tuna claim.
Yeah.
So it was probably other fish. But yeah, it was probably other fish.
Okay.
and the Taco Bell fiasco.
Well, I don't know anything about that. Was it the Chihuahua that the people were eating?
No, they put something that makes you go to the bathroom in their meat because they were using meat that was like on the verge of being bad, so they wanted you to shit it out.
right.
really
That
quickly.
might well be.
that
might-
scans.
Anyway,
Checks
That
out.
makes that totally checks out. You've
We-
redeemed yourself on the KFC thing with that
Right.
one because that is
I'm
absolutely
glad to hear
believable.
it.
Right.
we are about ready to wrap up our
Oh,
hour.
all right.
And we do. This was if you're into comedy, I think this was the episode for you because most of the episodes are political in nature because that's Noam's thing. He loves politics.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking we would. I thought we were going to go down
because
the rabbit hole.
Noam's not here, so
No, but
I'm not qualified to really to get into heavy topics.
I don't know about that, Dan. You're very opinionated off the air.
You're right, but but it was an
And on the
opportunity to dissect the comedy art a little bit, and so we took advantage of that.
We took a ride. on
And
it.
Brian, I guess people can find you on all the social media platforms. Are you big on the social media?
I'm terrible on social. I'm awful on social. I want people to get off of social media after they follow me on social media. I want
you made a big stink about how people are saying,
Oh yeah. I love that. Yeah, because that's one of another new. I love the news. I have this obsession with news stories and news of.
Some people
framework.
don't like it.
They, whenever you see a headline that says, cancer is cured, but not everyone is happy. But some are not happy, and I always want to pull my hair out because the word "some" is so vague, and then you go and you read the story, and
like
it's
two
two
tweets.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay, one of them has 4 followers, and another is like a picture of a yam. Okay, that's like a bot from like Sri Lanka or something. But they were like, screw the cure for cancer, and they go, there you go. And now we have controversy. We can't have nice things on social media. God forbid there's harmony in the social fabric. That's the thing that I hate most about social media is like, but some are not happy. Like. Yes, people are happy. There are things in the world that are good, and just stop it. Stop saying everything sucks. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Brian. We thank you and look for Brian Scott McFadden. He'll be at. I believe I saw you're at a club this week.
Yes, I will be at the Sandman Comedy Club in Richmond, Virginia, Thursday. Tomorrow through Saturday. And you can catch me there. Sandman Comedy Club in Richmond, Virginia. Go Google that. And you can find me on social media, Brian Scott McFadden, B. Scott McFadden Comedian, I think, on Instagram. Or just Google me, Brian Scott McFadden on Twitter, Brian Scott McFadden on Instagram. I think I'm on TikTok, but I'm not sure. I think that I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
I can't,
You'll find him. Podcast at comedycellar.com for comments, suggestions, and questions. Periel Aschenbrand, thank you. And thank you, Nicole Lyons. Everybody, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.